And we are live.
And we are VWP, and this is our Wednesday episode, which means our Tuesday episodes sometimes don't have a format, but a lot of times they do. Our Wednesday shows are just talking about everything else going on in the wrestling world. As always, I'm Mox, and joined by, as always, the one, the only, might be a little tipsy tonight, Miss Ambrose Alley.
Hello, nurses.
Oh, more than one. Kinky.
Sir.
Metal Matt should be here. Hopefully in just a little bit. Um, he's off. We was in headquarters earlier, so hopefully he'll be here soon. And the one and the only Tegan Knox. I mean Adam Rice.
You love that picture.
I
Uh,
absolutely do.
Good evening, everybody. We are going to do what I will generously call the quick and dirty edition of BWP tonight.
What, baby? Sorry, that was a random. Oh, I forgot we're live. I was not calling you baby.
Well, that's fine. You call me much different things when we're in private. Um,
Yeah, private conversations. Private conversations.
yeah.
Let's get into first and foremost anything off the top of anybody's head that we missed off of. If you guys can tell, we're doing like Micro Machine guy here.
Quick and
We're
dirty.
gonna quick and easy. Don't want to keep Rice up too late with him being on the Eastern time zone, and he actually works early in the morning and stuff. So we're gonna go real quick here. Anything off the top of anybody's head that we missed from um, Extreme Rules?
Nothing I can think of.
I didn't see it, so I can't be definite in my answer on that.
There was a little bit of Twitter stuff afterwards that we really don't,
Have to.
unless it's something, yeah, unless it's
It,
something like extraordinary. We don't usually get into the Twitter stuff. We get the same Bailey challenging like everybody on Twitter.
there is
Bailey,
something Twitter related that happened after Extreme Rules, but that was in relation to SmackDown, but we'll get to that when we get to SmackDown.
yeah. And
And
speaking of Mr. Metal Matt, his mic's muted. But he's
okay.
here. We haven't even talked about anything yet. But when he unmutes his mic, there he goes. And joining us is Mr. Metal Matt.
Who has a couple of rants?
Yes. Matt, we were just getting started, and I was asking before we dive into the other stuff that we're going to quickly go through. Anything from Extreme Rules that we failed to mention yesterday that you want to mention real quickly tonight?
Well, I do have a bit of a rant about the main event, but before I get to that, what do you call a swamp animal that steals? A crocodile?
Okay, you're
I'm
allowed one
going
of
to
those
ignore
tonight. You're allowed one tonight.
that. And Jesus be drunk.
Good grief.
We're
Um,
babysitting tonight, Max.
oh gosh. Do I have to?
Yeah. All
Um,
right, man. Get into that rant because we're doing a quick and dirty edition of VWP.
Well, it sounds like you would need Blue Chew for that, but
Uh,
I said you had one, sir. One.
yeah, the main event with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. For the most part, it was fine. It was at least better than Stomping Grounds main event. And I understand that's a bit of a low bar, but Then the finish comes. Corbin hits end of days on Becky. Seth goes insane and curb stomps Corbin to win the match. Brock Lesnar cashes in on Seth Rollins directly afterwards.
I'll say Becky
And
Lynch took the second best um, end of days next to Chad Gable back in NXT. She took that like a champ.
Mm-hmm.
which is more than I can say for Corbin on Monday, but that's a different story.
So what's your rant?
But it seems like a lot of people, for whatever reason, liked that angle. I absolutely hated it. Because for a good solid month, they have slowly been killing Becky's character with this on-screen relationship. And I'm sorry, people are probably going to disagree with me on that. A hot take, if you will. I really
Oh,
think that this
hot
destroyed
take
Becky's
alert!
character. I really do.
I need
It's nothing.
a sound pad so when somebody says like hot take incoming, I can do like an alert thing. Hot take alert! Hot take alert!
Like, I really think that this essentially killed Becky's character. It's nothing that she can't recover from. She's recovering. She was able to get a bit better on Raw, but I think it's going to take a lot of work to really
It,
rebuild her.
in my opinion, this whole relationship angle has ruined Seth more than Becky.
Yeah.
He was already kind of on that way before, but it really did. Oh, speaking of that, Seth Rollins had a nice little quote today regarding that.
He needs to shut up. He needs to stop answering questions.
He basically said to and this is regarding critics of it was basically his response to critics slash people saying that he and Becky had no chemistry on screen. And this is his exact response. And I knew before I read his answer, I knew what he was going to say. He essentially said, the people that criticize that are just jealous of this relationship. Screw off. Just screw off already.
How this Seth has proven time and again to be one of the most thin-skinned people on the main
I
roster.
know, like, especially lately.
Why does it
Dude,
sound like you're in a bridge or something, Rice?
because I am. No.
No. There you go.
I live in a van down by the river. Um,
Fat guy, little.
Well, I'm here to say that you're
Oh,
not going
please,
to
no, no.
amount to jack squat. Now
Three
I know
strikes.
what you're thinking, Mox. I know what you're thinking. That I can grab the world by the tail, put it in my pocket.
3 strikes, you're out.
but
um, AA, I know you haven't been following much live, but obviously on the Twitter feeds and their relationship. Any thoughts on um, just the fact that they're so over the top with presenting in real life relationship on screen and doing kind of a macho man Elizabeth thing. Any thoughts, or you just need another drink?
I need another drink.
Nice.
look, I understand Seth's wanting to be protective of the relationship that he and Becky have, and I understand that taking criticism regarding your relationship with somebody is not something anybody wants to do. You want people to be happy. You want to be happy with the person you're with and all that stuff. But our eyes can see there is they do not have a great on-screen chemistry. They just don't. I
They
feel
didn't.
to see how this is a criticism he needs to respond to.
Please get out from under that bridge.
But it's comfortable.
That's so he
Um,
can bounce off the pillars and everything, holding up the bridge, just like Tiggers. They bounce.
We're still running with that.
Yeah, that's a headquarters reference that nobody else will get. Um, yeah, and I don't want to sit here and criticize their relationship, but it, it's
It's
it,
never
it
worked.
it's falling flat for me because you have alpha male in story, alpha male and alpha female, and they should be. I don't know how to word it. I'm not going to try to word it. But
I know we're
it.
good.
No, I could. I just don't want to get heat for what my feeling. It's just not coming across on TV. Sometimes, every once in a while, it does, but for a lot, it's not working. It's just they shoved it, and I hate this phrase because I got so sick of hearing this phrase during the 4 years of Roman's push. Shove down our throat, shove down our throat. They've shoved this down our throat so much, and you can almost sense like Kobe Lopez and Rebecca Quinn um, aren't necessarily comfortable with it being so much on the forefront, if that makes sense.
Yes, they clearly don't.
Kobe Lopez and Rebecca
Mhm.
Quinn are their shoot names, by the way.
Yeah.
Like the actual people
Um,
playing these characters aren't very um, comfortable with what they're doing on screen as Seth and Becky Lynch.
because they're both famously private about their lives. And then
Yes,
here we are, all of a sudden, this part of their lives is playing out for the whole damn world to see. I get to where that's kind of a pressure cooker, but you don't need to respond to the questions that you are asked about it. Just
yeah,
say people are welcome to think what they want. I believe we're doing our best with what we are given, and you know, our chemistry is best left between us. All don't play into it. You don't have to play into the criticism.
yeah. That's where the fault lies. The problem lies is Seth replying on Twitter and acknowledging and um, they're feeding into it more than he probably should.
But what I can appreciate is that well, and this will segue us into Raw, unless Matt wants to go further on his rant.
Well,
Um,
I mean, I'm running a nightly right now. I can try and multitask, but I'm not very good at multitasking.
Fair enough. Um, that looks like they did maneuver themselves out of Becky Seth
Thank
in
God.
between very well. They look like they just pushed ahead and got them separated. Keep them separated. Let them go. Let them be a couple. And just let them live their life. We don't need this on us. Um,
Yeah, they played it too hard, too fast.
Giggity.
I mean, if they wanted to stretch this out to, because this has SummerSlam written all over it, but they were too, again, I'm using the term shove down our throats, like just constantly through social media, on screen, and at Extreme Rules, we hopefully that was the culmination of it in the end. And okay, there's still a couple, but please go your separate ways.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Not in real life. Like, I'm not saying like y'all break up, but in story, like on TV, like do your own thing. And maybe come back to it later.
Maybe, but
You know, if the story tells it, but you got to tell the story right.
yeah,
If the
you
story
don't.
calls for it.
Right. One of the bad things about what they decided to do with Becky and Seth was that they started it on Twitter and then
Oh God.
immediately inserted it into the very next row.
Yeah.
Like who
Eh,
cares?
yeah. And it's been
Although,
nonstop. Nonstop.
can I applaud Becky for her response to Vince Russo?
Of
Did
course.
you, did you guys see that?
I can't hear you, so
I don't. Well, I'm just talking directly into my phone. I don't know what else to tell you. Um,
like
did
now
you
I can
guys?
hear you, but then sometimes you sound like you're again under a bridge, underwater or something. But continue. Did you say
Did
Charlie
you,
Caruso?
did you see Becky's response to Vince Russo?
No.
Vince Russo, who was plugging his podcast on Twitter, said that what Becky should have done at Extreme Rules was screw Seth, and become like a mega heel and, cost Seth the title.
I
But
want what he's smoking.
I
Well,
don't.
well, isn't he in Colorado now? Just
Yeah,
saying.
that's
True. But what he just basically said on Twitter was Becky should have screwed Seth. And Becky responded to the tweet saying, I did.
giggity, giggity.
Which, of course, the internet exploded. Uh,
And see, that's where they both need to knock it off with the Twitter replies and the it just it again. I'm going to use the term. It just falls flat for me. Um, Between the Twitter stuff and the on-screen stuff, it's just
I would
and
say
I
let them live, but Becky does need to know when it's okay to put the phone down.
yeah.
Nah, I think she's doing very well.
Well, of
Of
course you would.
course you would.
Well, I mean, and honestly, there's a lot of problems with that on-screen relationship, bringing it onto on-screen. One, they just had no chemistry. I'm sorry, Seth, but you just had no chemistry, just none at all. And partly. And that's partly because Becky was so uncomfortable with it. It was so obvious. I think Seth was into it. I don't think Becky was at all. And I think the most important thing why this fell flat is that the man Becky Lynch, that character is not equipped for something like a romantic couple. It just isn't. Like again, like I was saying last night, if it was steampunk Becky, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe it could have worked a little bit better. It would still be
Uh,
stupid, it'd still be
st-
stupid, but it would at least be a
steampunk.
little bit better. But with the man Becky Lynch, it doesn't work. That character is not
eh,
equipped for stuff like that. Just have her,
eh,
just have her be who she is, a confident fighter. That's all you have to
eh,
do. But it's so obvious that creative simply doesn't understand this character. Like they don't understand a lot of characters on their roster.
I'll take it a
Becky,
step further
go
and
ahead.
with a hot take, hot take, hot take. Um, Steampunk Becky Lynch could have used the rub of dating Seth and them
Eh,
using it in storyline. The man Becky Lynch doesn't need. Does
Doesn't
that
need a
make sense?
room.
Yeah,
Yeah, the man doesn't need a
yeah,
room.
yeah, but I don't think. But even then, I don't think Steampunk Becky needed
well,
anything
I
like
think
that. I think
it
she was
wouldn't
still
have hurt.
fairly over on her
Yeah,
own.
it wouldn't have hurt as much as
Like,
it's hurt the man Becky Lynch. Because to me, it's hurt the man Becky
yeah,
Lynch.
yeah. Like all I'm saying is that it probably would have worked better from a character standpoint with
Yeah,
Steampunk Becky. It still would have been stupid, but at least it would have worked a little bit better.
I
yeah.
think one of the reasons why it didn't work, and this really isn't a hot take, but I'm gonna go out on a limb anyway and say it. Seth is a terrible actor.
And it felt so forced. It really did, which is weird
Seth,
considering it's a real relationship.
Yeah, that there's also that where it felt so kayfabe,
like,
but
and then here's the other thing. And Matt, you brought up creative, and we'll go into Raw now. I disagree that the creative doesn't understand the character, but because creative helps get the character to this point. So which is it? Is it the creative doesn't understand the character, or does creative help get the character to the level she's at now?
Creative doesn't understand the character.
they what's the point? What's the agenda? What was the end game supposed to be? Like
Um,
and like you say, this started on Twitter with WWE announcing their new power couple, yada yada. Um,
I think they didn't think it any further. I don't think they had any plans for it further than what they showed. I
I think
honestly
this was
believe it.
always the plan. I really do. Like as soon as they announced it, I knew that they were going to make it something on screen. I just knew that they would.
well, absolutely, and that's what my point earlier was. They did it too fast, and they could have kept the two a little more separate and pushed it because Becky and Seth versus mixed tag at SummerSlam, and let the story flesh out beyond. Hey, we're dating. We're a couple. We're both champions, and they didn't give the story time to flesh out, and it was very rushed from
I
the
would
first
say the
initial
same.
tweet.
I wouldn't have even done that. I would just have keep them separate. Maybe give a couple of those subtle hints, like maybe the two like sort of interact in the hallway or something like that. But don't make it like a full fledged storyline.
Well,
And if
I'm
you
saying
are going to make it a full, and I
I'm
was going to
going
just
up.
piggyback off of that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you are going to make it a full fledged storyline, start building your blocks to it before just addressing it.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm was speaking in terms of they were going to make this a storyline. The better way to have done that was to make it to like put kind of both things we're saying together of some interaction, backstage in the hallway, just to remind us that kind of stuff, and let it build up instead of sorry to be crude in front of mixed company, but shooting your load right off the bat with
Yep.
mixed tag at against Corbin and Lacey Evans at Extreme Rules. They could have done given, and I'm saying this as okay. We're going to run this storyline. We're definitely going to run this storyline. It could have been fleshed out better, taken a little longer, given us some more substance.
I mean, they could have just not done it at all. But
Well, I know, but that's
Well,
um,
Matt, you're right, but I don't think that was an option on the table. So you have to take the best options you had. And I think they
yeah.
would have been better off.
best option is to not do it.
Well, that option wasn't on the table. The option on the table was doing it.
But it should
How
have been
they
on the table.
do it. Well, that's
Okay, now you're just being obtuse.
yeah. No,
Obtuse. Obtuse. Did you call me obtuse? Oh,
I
now you're being the
did.
cute.
anyway,
Monday Night Raw.
that AA actually cut some of.
Yeah, Allie, why don't you
What
let the
about?
people know?
I only caught about 15 minutes of it, and then that was it. I
What
went
is
back to watching Criminal Minds.
Motorsport?
Well,
Yeah.
it's because the iconics weren't on. I know.
Max, why don't you take the lead here for Monday Night Raw? I'm sure people are tired of hearing me.
I don't even remember that 15 minutes. That shows you how interested I was in it.
because you climbed into a margarita glass tonight. That's why you don't remember it.
That was a delicious margarita. Yummy.
well, well,
Wasted away again in
In
Margaritaville.
Margaritaville.
Looking
well,
for my lost shaker of salt.
You
Some
stop.
people think that there's a
Stop.
one person to blame, but
okay.
I know
This is not rapid fire.
it's AA's fault.
AA, to kind of speak for you, you alluded to this. I think even a little bit on the pod last night, but in headquarters definitely. Um, Brock being champion again just
Killed
took
it.
you out. Yeah, it just took you out of.
Why? Why are they doing this? Oh
Oh,
wait, no, I know why. I know why. Same reason they're doing Raw Reunion next week, because they think it increases ratings, even though Brock does nothing for ratings. He simply doesn't. Maybe he was a draw at one point in his career, but that ain't it, Chief. This ain't it, Chief.
y'all,
Uh,
it ain't that deep. We know why they put the title on Brock. Who's running Raw?
Oh yeah, that too.
Look, it's booking 101. It's what bookers have done since the test of time. You work with the guy you're comfortable with. Brock Cole is comfortable with Brock at the top of the card. Why he did what he did. And we know Vince is as comfortable with Brock at the top of the card.
but I would have thought Heyman would have at least, and I'm going to say it again. Sorry, AA. Waited to shoot his load.
I I think
Well, that's
there
where
is
Blue
still
Chew
some.
comes in handy.
We're gonna
Um,
get canceled.
we are, we are. It's inevitable. Um,
I,
I
I,
think
I go ahead.
I think there is mileage still in having someone convincingly beat Brock because
Yeah,
we haven't seen that. And I know Seth beat Brock at WrestleMania,
Goldberg.
but yeah, but
oh, yeah.
that's not that's not a thing
That
that happened.
doesn't count. Yeah.
Yeah, the dream
Well,
didn't
and
come to the
what's up?
table.
Um, what's up with the last few years of the Money in the Bank briefcases um, not lasting very long? Like they get cashed in.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
So
I I have an answer for that because then someone holding on to it forever also doesn't work.
The money in the
and not
bank
for
itself doesn't work anymore.
it. It used to, and I don't know what happened to where it doesn't because
What happened when Miz won it? I think that's pretty safe to say.
um
You would say that.
yeah, you're a bad person. But like it used to be something that it wasn't. Do you
I
guys
think
you remember when um so and so and just happened to be Money in the Bank contract holder, and they would subtly remind us instead of them being the contract holder being their story. And when are they going to cash in? Are they going to cash in tonight? Are they going to do a fake cash in? Is the referee? And it just I
I
kind
think
of agree with Matt that it's a obsolete. They've made it an obsolete tool anymore.
Edge was
I
good at
think
holding on to it before cashing in and the way he played it.
Yes,
Ed was
but
good at it. When OVD had it, it was good. Because that
I can't.
set
Because
up.
that's where he kept his weed.
CM Punk won it twice, and I can't remember off the top of my head the first or the second one. Um, that it was really good, but it wasn't. They weren't constantly teasing cash ins or bringing up. CM Punk
It's,
has the contract. And we're now anymore. It's. 'Cause, CM Punk has the contract. 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 CM Punk has the contract
I
Like,
think two things hurt it. Two things hurt it. First was that the Money in the Bank became too popular. They became so popular that it got its own show.
yeah,
That should have been a WrestleMania only thing.
yeah.
The
They should go
second
back to
thing,
that.
the second thing that hurt it, multiple briefcases at once. When
Oh, so
now,
you're sexist.
not that, but kind of. Um,
Oh, he admitted it. He admitted it.
when Raw has a briefcase, SmackDown has a briefcase. I understand. Then the new women's briefcase. Then the women got a briefcase. It it oversaturates the gimmick. The gimmick is this one briefcase can guarantee the holder a shot for a year. What happens to the gimmick when it goes from one person to three people?
Yeah.
You
Before the
killed the gimmick.
when they split, where we had a red briefcase and a blue briefcase just for the men, really hurt.
You've hurt the gimmick. You've hurt what you're trying to do. The
'Cause,
briefcase is the MacGuffin. When you
the
have
women aside, because I like having a women's Money in the Bank.
yeah,
But
and that
the
should stick around.
fascination with having one men's Money in the Bank holder who could cash in on either show in either champion. There was some intrigue there. They tried doing this with Brock. With is he going to cash in on Kofi? Is he going to cash in on? But now it's run its course so much where there was no intrigue like there used to be. You know, are they going to cash in for the heavyweight championship, or are they going to cash in for the WWE championship?
I say what they need to do with the briefcase: disappear the Money in the Bank pay per view for 2 years. Get rid of it. Get rid of the concept of the briefcase. Get rid of it. Then 2 years from now, announce you're bringing it back at WrestleMania for one briefcase. You killed the gimmick to a point where you can't use it anymore. There's no
Yeah.
heat behind it. And if you don't have heat
Hell,
behind something, why are you doing it?
I would go as far as to say, and this is just off the top of my head, also medicine and stuff kicking in. Um, and I'm not going to word this right, and I'm going to set it up completely where it's going to come off as a failure. But if you want one briefcase, put the men and women. If a woman wins it, she can go for a woman's title. If a man wins it, he goes for a man's title.
They won't do it because they don't want the internet.
I know. I know it would never happen, but
The finish
you
to
know,
Extreme Rules says differently.
Well, here's the thing: you can only do
I would never forgive that stupid finish.
this because you're a petty, petty person. Uh,
No.
See,
but
A agrees with that.
I think she was talking to Cassie.
I was talking to the cat.
No,
um,
but something to make it relevant again. The most relevant that briefcase has been in years was Brock using it as a boombox. That was the most.
and then Brock came
I say
out and used the belt
relevant.
as a big box.
Yes.
And Matt DSM is going to be pissed at you guys for leaving out Carmella.
How we left her out?
You said the most relevant it's been in years is Brock.
Well, Carmella won it 2 years ago, so that technically years.
And also,
Mm-hmm.
Carmella didn't win the briefcase.
She did. We're not gonna have this semantic argument. She won it twice, actually.
She won it twice, but Ellsworth got it through the first time, and it was so poorly received they had to redo the match.
That was their opportunity to have Becky win the Money in the Bank, but I digress.
Becky can't win everything.
Of course she can. She's a man.
Oh God.
I mean, the Cleveland Browns can't win everything.
Oh, sweet
They don't win
God.
everything.
Shut up. Just shut up.
Hey,
Right along.
yeah, we'll let you
No.
close the. Don't tell me no. The Money in the Bank concept to you, you still enjoy it? Is it run its course? Do you want it to go away for a while? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they just need to get rid of it, period.
Simple enough.
Yes.
But
Oh,
Brock came out the open Raw, which is why we got on the Money in the Bank conversation. And Seth was doing his thing, and they let. Basically, they were trying to set up for what would be the battle royal later on in the night to determine who would challenge Brock at SummerSlam.
and
It would be fair to call this a generic promo segment.
yes,
Yeah, because it's the same freaking promo Paul Heyman always cuts with Brock. With Brock standing there as a cardboard cutout. You could replace him with a cardboard cutout and nobody would know the difference.
and it'd have more charisma.
And you could do that in his matches too, but I digress.
I'll say this real quick. Are we gonna see Brock more on TV?
No.
I think there's a possibility we will.
Yeah, because apparently, he's officially retired from MMA. I don't think he's going to be a full time week in, week out. But the last few weeks, we've seen Brock a lot more than we've seen him for an entire calendar year in the past.
Yeah,
Yay?
Huh?
I think
What just
now
happened?
I don't know.
Wait, what?
What happened?
We confused ourselves, people. We don't know what we just did. Um,
Wednesday, VWP. This is what we do. But yeah, the battle royal to for the number one contender to face Brock at SummerSlam for the Universal Championship.
The wrong
Uh, the,
person won.
the writing was on the wall. Like that was.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mean to be Paul Heyman, but I did do a. This isn't a prediction; it's a spoiler, and it's going to be Seth.
and it was.
Literally
But
anybody else should have won.
when I looked at the participants, I'm like, well, I don't want it to be Seth because Seth bores me at this point. Um, I could live without seeing Brock versus Roman again.
I'd rather have
Um,
Roman as champion over Seth.
They're saving that
I
for
mean,
WrestleMania.
they're saving that for Mania, correct? Um, Joe is too old. I'm sorry.
Who?
Joe.
Oh, I would have rather had Joe.
Again, I would too, but it's not happening. Um, I would have popped for Big E.
Oh
That would have
yes.
been better.
Oh, Big E versus Brock. Holy shit! Yes.
Brock, I know he's a heel, but Brock versus Bobby, I think would have been fine, even
That would
though
have been better.
Bobby's as interesting as drying paint.
Which Bobby are we talking about?
Lashley.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been.
Dang it, Bobby.
Tell you what.
There you are, boy.
But they went with this option, and I guess SummerSlam. My thing is it shouldn't be a rematch, like it because of what happened the previous night.
Right.
Uh,
I think Baron was in that battle royal, but Baron, I don't care. Um, so basically, it came down to your option was Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins. That's what it came down to. Um, I'm not plus that we're getting this rematch, um, but this is the story they want to tell, so I'm going to give Paul a chance to tell it. That's all I can do.
and it just makes the previous night just that much more questionable.
And
And
it was
SummerSlam's
already pretty questionable to begin with. It was already pretty terrible to begin with.
well, the pay per view was a really good show, but
It was fine.
the cash, like I can't wrap my head around if you're gonna cash in, um, then move along to somebody else. If I know there's supposedly no more rematch clauses, but give Seth a rematch the following night, even though Brock doesn't wrestle on Raw. Give him a rematch, have him lose, whatever, and then at their big reunion show next week, have a battle royal for number one contender. And you guys know I love Seth Rollins, but move on.
So what you're telling me is that you want Hulk Hogan to win the Battle Royal.
Oh, God.
Sir, that's a bannable offense.
Yes, it is. You need to think about what you just done.
You you
Well,
mute your microphone and sit in the corner.
keep in mind that Hogan did put over Brock back in 02. Now the Hulkster's got to get his win back, brother. What you gonna do, Suplex City? What you gonna do when Hollywood Hulk Hogan runs wild on you? What you gonna do?
I'm gonna call your family and tell them to bring you back to the old folks' home.
You have lost your ever loving mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, AA, I already know the answer here, but here we go with the same story that led us to WrestleMania 35 of the Beast Slayer trying to conquer the Beast for the championship. What are your thoughts?
Cut and paste.
Just
Yeah.
so lack of creative direction.
But you
Yeah.
know what? If we are going to do this, that match at SummerSlam shouldn't be longer than 10 minutes. And Brock should win convincingly. I mean,
Which he probably, and we all know Brock likes working with the smaller guys. So when
yeah.
you guys brought up like Bobby Lashley and stuff, um, fuck if, dude, I throw throw a surprise in there. Have Matt Riddle surprise entrance into the battle royal, and we finally that would get buzz. Matt Riddle versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Because we know Matt wants it.
Oh, would you? We absolutely
I do.
do.
Yes, you
Not
do.
you, Matt. Not you. My
Maybe
third.
you, but
Maybe.
Matt Riddle wants to retire Brock.
He said
That
so. I don't
give
know.
us something to even going in like okay, Riddle's gonna lose, but fuck if we would not be more excited going into SummerSlam.
You know,
Like holy
give
shit, we
us,
finally get Matt Riddle versus Brock.
you know what? Give us an anybody going into that match at SummerSlam is going to be the underdog, regardless of where they are on the card. So let's
Yeah,
play with it a little bit.
yeah, that's what she said. But
Um,
yeah, give us something.
give us Ali versus Brock.
Turn Sami
Give us
Zayn face and put him against Brock and have him win.
Brock isn't losing at SummerSlam. I hate to tell you.
I mean,
Let's
I
Unless Paul wants to make somebody and springboard that into the next 5 to 6 months of programming, but I don't think Brock's dropping the title 4 weeks after he wins it.
No, we're going to go a whole year without Brock dropping the title.
At least 9 months.
Yeah, Mania.
Mania.
Brock might as well eat that for roll-up belt at this point because it's pretty much worthless now.
I can't believe he's a 3-time Universal Champion.
I can.
I can too. I can't believe that's.
Like I said, all I can do is to hope Paul has a different direction on some level. That's my only recourse. It's like
He won't.
It's like every time the Browns get a new front office. All I can do is hope they have a different plan.
Hope springs eternal.
Allegedly.
But just something. And if you thought there was going to be overnight change, I hate to say this, you're a fool.
Yeah. Paul and Eric was not going to instantly make the shows different. This wasn't. Hell, Eric hasn't even officially started.
I don't hate Eric Bischoff, but I paid the fool.
Oh, Mr. T.
Oh, Lord. So, should we talk about the big controversy for Monday Night Raw? The match everybody was talking about?
I can't hear you, so I don't know what you just said. Something about Raw.
Talk about the controversial match from Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that.
There's no controversy here.
Oh, why did they give them 24 minutes?
I don't think the length was the problem.
She'd beg to differ.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that product again because we will get canceled. Yeah. Oh God, who is 24 official? Because I know it went 20 plus. Rice.
I'm here. I'm dealing with something. Hold on.
Oh, but anyway, it went more 20 minutes or more.
Yeah, I know that people are trying to blame the length of the match, and it didn't help. But look who was involved in it. Like, it was going to turn bad regardless of how long it was.
No, you don't. I think this was a test by Paul to see what he had with some of the members of his division. The problem is, those four are not the greatest workers. Natty's fine and competent. Naomi's athletic and charismatic.
Carmella is disagree on the charismatic, but go on.
She's connecting with the audience, and that's what you want. I mean,
I'll disagree with that.
You're just a hater. Carmella is.
Are you saying Bailey doesn't connect with the audience?
Not Bailey, Naomi.
Oh, Naomi. Okay. I just completely confused myself.
Somewhere Dan Bauer was about to be screaming at Adam.
No, I was talking about you that disagreed because I can't hear Rice for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, I thought he said Bailey, and you disagreed and about connecting with the
Bailey
audience.
has charisma for days.
and she connects with the audience. Okay, that's where my confusion lied. Was I thought for whatever
Can't
reason,
see this is a land of confusion.
I just heard that song today.
Carmella and Alexa are perfectly fine characters, but
ooh, Des Moines about to whoop your ass. Don't do it.
true, Carmella does work best in those multi-women matches, but she isn't being going to go out and do something crazy because that's not what Carmella does. Um, this match was hurt by the individuals involved and by also going a whole near half hour. That wasn't necessary. And I, I, I know it was disrespectful and not nice, for lack of a better term, that the fans started chanting, "This is awful."
Yes,
Here's the thing.
loudly.
It was not disrespectful at all. Like the Raw after WrestleMania 31, that was disrespectful. This
Yes,
was
it was.
just them expressing themselves.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get into. I'd rather hear "This is awful" than CM Punk
Well, or
every day.
you suck, John, or that kind of that's disrespectful.
Because I know what I can do with "This is awful." That's criticism I can take. Because
And we didn't we have this conversation last night,
um,
or was it a
a couple
private
weeks ago,
conversation we had over the weekend?
it was a couple weeks ago when they were doing the CM Punk chants during the Bailey Sarah Logan match.
Yes, where it's
I'd
not
rather hear
construction criticism or
right.
constructive criticism. It's just chanting CM Punk, just a chance. When you're chanting "This is awful" very loudly for a very long time, at least that's feedback to somebody in the back. I know it personally hurts the wrestlers' feelings, if you will. But at least it's something you can grow from.
And you know what? It is at that moment I wish the wrestler had agency to end the match. 15 minutes into that match, when those chants started going, I don't know about what minute they started chanting, but once you start get to that reaction, you're hurting the fans' feelings. It's like you don't know when to end. Someone put Maddie should have fenced up on a small package. 1, 2, 3. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Somebody in the back should have translated or communicated to the ref of wrap it up, let's go, and
Because
that's what should have happened. Let's get it over with. Um, because
what happened
if you
what
have
happened
a
to the
go ahead.
Battle Royal, you should have. You're right. There should have been communication from the back to the referee to let the girls know. Come up with a finish. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yes,
Because for all intents, you're hurting your wrestlers when you're just trying to strictly adhere to um, a
the
time.
time constraints and the time windows, um, and you should always have, because in wrestling you never know, um, a chance like this or injuries or something. You should always have a couple of backup plans to eat up time if need be.
There should
What?
always be a plan B.
If a clock was in a bad mood, would it mean it's ticked off?
Oh God!
I love it.
But there should always be some segments that are if this happens, if that happens, we can run this, we can do that,
You
and
should always remember in the old days, Mox, when they used to say if the match ended sooner than expected, they had matches ready to go.
yes, and
That
that you should always, and that's what a lot of people don't get. I think they still try to do that to a degree. That's why there's a lot of wrestlers, and this is the famous, people are in catering. They're there for a reason. They used to be anyway. In case, hey, you're up. You and you go have a match. That kind of stuff. That was commonplace back in the day.
so it that match where they were given a bad. They had to go out and figure out how to kill 24 minutes. Uh, with workers, that match should have gone 15 minutes tops.
Chops. And I
Um,
get like there's, this wasn't just like a one on one. This was a lot of women involved, right? And you want your spots, and like that is time consuming in and of itself. Um, but like it was aged um, pretty poorly, and you should always have an exit strategy
yes.
for
Oh,
it's not just multi, but like any match, you should always have an exit strategy.
yeah. And now let's get to the couple things. First off, I want to talk about the post-match reaction on Twitter from Alexa Bliss. Um,
Oh God, do we have to?
Jeez.
Alexa, you should know better. You just should know better. You should have done what Naomi did, which was like tweet out an emoji and then turn off your phone.
Uh,
Don't interact. Don't. But you decided to go the extra step and say that the fans were disrespectful and that you weighed in on what the fans should be allowed to do. No,
yeah, you
you
don't tell somebody how to be a fan. That's not a wrestler shouldn't tell us how to be fans. Other fans shouldn't tell fans how to be fans. You don't do that.
fans shouldn't tell wrestlers how to be wrestlers.
True.
That that um Alexa, you know better. I know you know better. You are was he now 27, 28 years old?
Uh,
It's
26, 27, something like that. Yeah.
you know you're on that march to 30. You're an adult. Act like it.
And that, and she's been through this online Twitter criticism before for various reasons. The Bailey, this is your life. I don't want to say she's thin skinned, but you're right. She should know when to just leave well enough alone.
Mm-hmm. You weren't going to win any argument on Twitter.
Yeah.
Nobody
Just,
wins an
just
argument on Twitter.
the only way to win on Twitter is don't engage.
Right. You can tweet out an emoji or something, but don't engage. That's the worst thing you can do. Um, and
What
now
about a
let's go.
wedding?
What was that?
What about a wedding?
Stop it.
Oh, sweet Lord. But to wrap the battle royal up, Natalia wins the
Natty.
battle wins the
Eh,
battle royal.
not
And
a great choice, but you know what? I'll take it over Alexa.
the crowd goes mild.
All I'm going to say is, why was I had a problem on some level with Carmella being in that match. Why is a SmackDown woman coming over to compete for the Raw belt again?
Same
Wild
reason that
card
Alexa
rules.
was challenged for the SmackDown Women's title.
Wild card full wild card. which just needs to end
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
desperately.
it should end, but you know what else needs to end? The brand split itself.
No, no, no.
You're
Um,
not.
for
We've had
one,
that discussion before.
yeah, the brand split is fine, and they're gonna have to keep it as a brand split with them about to be on different networks. Um,
But I want to
but
see Becky Lynch and the Iconics on both Raw and SmackDown. Is that too much to ask?
yes, it
Yeah.
absolutely is.
By WWE standards, yes, it's too much to ask.
By my standards, it's too much to ask. Matt is
Well,
already
your standards are
Matt
the
is already
Browns,
on
so.
a shut up. Um,
So now we get Natalia
um,
versus Becky at SummerSlam.
with this in Blood City, Matt.
Yeah, I should have seen it coming because SummerSlam is going to be in Toronto.
I mean, it makes look. They're going to walk a fine line here. Um,
How do you reckon?
Natty is not going to
By
get booed
driving
in
my
Toronto.
car into a pole. That's how I reckon.
Right. Um, Natty isn't going to get booed in Toronto.
No.
I don't think she's going to get cheered over Becky, though.
I think she might because I don't. I think she's going to come out with her uncle.
Well, that's just cheating. That's a cheap
Well,
pop, is what that is.
And I know Canada, we all think, the Americans at least, and I guess most of the, like, Canada's Canada. Toronto's not really, um, with Bret Hart aside. And they, how do I word this? There's might be some apathy for Natalia. Yeah, she's Canadian and she's Heart Foundation and Heart Dungeon and Toronto's different though. It's not like they're going to Montreal or
no, but Canada's always different. Always.
yeah, bizarre
And
world.
like Jerry used to say. Um,
Hey, Adam, why'd you have to make Diana a whore?
that wasn't my call, Stu.
Um, we
I
we
was
should have
hoping
seen
somebody would understand that reference.
we should have seen this coming because for several years now, Natalia always gets this semi push. Always.
Right.
For some reason.
It's for years now. She gets this semi push. Nothing really comes of it, but she gets this spot.
Yeah, and my other thing is if I also wonder if this is how they're going to reintroduce
My name is
Ronda
Ho.
Rousey back to WWE television.
Who?
Ronda.
Oh!
Please no.
I was,
Please no.
I was waiting to get to that part because think about it. It's Becky. It's Natalia. It's SummerSlam. I would not be shocked at all whatsoever if Ronda Rousey shows up at SummerSlam.
Ronda can just stay away from WWE for all I care.
I
Ditto.
agree. I agree, but it just seems like too much writing on the wall. Um,
You know,
Or they can
my thing
erase
is,
that right off the wall.
Maybe the impregnation vacation isn't going according to plan, and I definitely this just screams Ronda's coming back at SummerSlam.
Look, either Brett's coming out with Natty or Ronda's coming out with Natty, but someone is going to be in Natty's corner for this match.
Oh no! I don't even mean it that way. I mean Ronda comes out after the match
Well, that's also a possibility. But
and beats both of them up.
this is where we get introduced to the other horsewomen.
And that might be the Monday after,
Yeah,
because Natalia, if it was say Becky versus Charlotte, um, or title for title, if they want to do another winner take all, what the fuck is their thing all of a sudden with winner take all matches? Becky versus Bailey. Maybe this is where that seed gets planted, but I think right now it would just be Ronda, and then Ronda versus Becky at what's the pay per view after SummerSlam?
the next big one after SummerSlam, Survivor Series.
Yeah, that's I'm saying between that though, because
Um,
Survivor Series is where I think we get
horsewomen
horsewomen.
versus women.
If
Can we just not do that match?
please, for the
They
love of
want
God,
it. They want it. They're going. It's what they want.
That
And
match is like Kevin Owens as a face. It seems like a good idea, but it's gonna fall completely flat on its face.
sir.
Kevin Owens is a wonderful person and a wonderful face, and I would not do slander to the otherwise.
That
That
would explain why Kevin Owens ran away like a coward on SmackDown, but that's beside the point.
he's smart, and we haven't
Yeah,
gotten to.
we complain about baby faces doing dumb things,
And
and
that
yet
was a dumb thing.
whatever happened to discretion is the better part of valor. He went in there, he stunned Shane, and he left. That's what he should do.
But the match wasn't even over.
So
Uh, his point. He made his point though.
the match was
How many
secondary.
times did Austin go down to the ring, stun somebody, and leave?
The point. I was trying to get over. Um, one other thing from this match on Raw, then well, I will take my leave. Actually, it's about midnight my time, and I can't stay up um, too much longer. But one of the things
You have 8 minutes, sir.
I know I'm getting wrapping. I'm just trying to wrap up my time anyway.
Well, that's
Um, sir, sir.
you're from Columbus. I hope you wrap it up.
Hey, hey, it could be worse. It could be Dallas. Um,
True. I'm not from Dallas, so that doesn't offend me.
oh shit, yeah, should have said Houston. Um,
I lived there for a few years, so I know you're absolutely correct, but I'm not from there.
um, I would have taken Carmella out of this match and put in Sarah Logan.
Yeah. Are we not going to get to any other final thoughts, grades on Raw? I think we hit all the high points.
Yeah, we hit the important stuff. Um, they did some more with AJ and Ricochet, but that, although I will say, it definitely sounds like they're trying to build to the club versus maybe the Undisputed Era.
Jesus fuck. Uh,
I wouldn't hate that, but I struggle to find who the babyface is supposed to be.
it, neither.
But it definitely seems like that's something they're angling at. which is why maybe Finn might come back and be with the club and that kind of thing, 4-on-4. Um, but as
And
far as,
we learned tonight that at NXT Takeover Joy, we get Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano in a 3 stages of hell match.
boy, that won't be an overbooked mess.
I'm so, dude. NXT is weekly. NXT
Is,
is
is grinding your gears.
well, it's decent. The NXT takeovers are,
Fantastic.
man, they're fantastic, except for here we go again with Cole and Gargano. I'm just so over
Why Johnny
Gargano.
Gargano? Why Johnny Gargano is still in NXT? I don't know. I mean, I get it. The stuff happened with Ciampa. He got hurt, and they had to call an audible. But Gargano should be on the main roster now.
Yes.
And there's so much more in NXT to work with.
Yes.
I mean, they
Um,
let's be. I'm just gonna hot take alert, hot take alert, hot take alert. They're booking like main roster booking. It's
yes.
the same fucking people over and over again.
Um, which I'm here to say, if y'all didn't think that was bound to happen, I have a bridge to sell you. This idea
It's
that
getting very tiresome.
if people thought Triple H was going to be a miracle cure to Vince McMahon when he got to take over, I got news for you. He's not. What
Yeah, I
Triple
mean,
H
there's only one miracle cure out there, and its name is Blue Chew.
Okay, we just got canceled.
yeah,
Adam, you have 5 minutes. Quick rundown. Your thoughts on SmackDown?
SmackDown. I like the potential feud that they may be setting up between Ali and Nakamura for the IC title. Uh,
Liv was on TV.
that's the big thing to me. That's the thing everyone's talking about. Liv Morgan got back on television, and people finally realized something that me and Mark and our friend Matt BSM and have been saying to anybody who would listen to us. Liv Morgan is a damned star.
I mean, it's right there. It's so easy.
She,
What does she mean when she comes back? Are people reading too much into that, or
I'm of two minds. I think there are two distinct possibilities. The first is the one that's obvious that's hitting us in the face. She's going to disappear and come back with a gimmick change,
that
which
she
I would
doesn't need, in my opinion?
Yeah, she does not
no,
need it.
no. She's fine as is. I agree. Don't change her. Don't take my lift from me again. Just let me give her back. But the second thing, and it's more of a fantasy book idea than it is maybe something that's grounded in reality. But hear me out. I think what she could have also meant was, I'm going to come back next week stronger and better. I'm going to keep coming back from these losses, and I'm going to try to be better week in and week out. And I'm
That
going to try to be
I like your second
the,
point. Like
the,
when could be anything, and I'm hoping it's like next week. Like just keep coming back and coming back. When I come back, could be next Tuesday.
when I come back, I want to be, I'm going to be real. I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do things differently to try to pick up a win. And week in and week out, he could lose. And she's going to be like, you know what, that didn't work. I'm going to come back and try something else. And do that until the fans are clamoring for her to see her win. And then when she wins, you take off with her and start to run with her. And you build up this truly the WWE loves the underdog. It's
Yeah,
something they believe in.
it's an old trope, but it works.
It's an old trope. But where they fail at it is they try to make Roman Reigns and John Cena the underdog.
Yeah,
That doesn't work.
we're not talking about them, but as long as she's showing up every week, she's trying, and she's like, I'll be back. I'll be back. I'm trying. I'm improving. I'm doing what I like. That's
That would be interesting, and that would get the fans behind it because you have to reintroduce Liv Morgan. You have to.
Well,
So
Adam, there's no need to fear. Underdog is here.
oh, oh, um, I hope this doesn't mean Liv's going to be off TV again for an extended time. Um, my fear is that it is, and that she's saying she's going to come back and be a totally different person.
we completely. Speaking of coming back, Bray Wyatt making his return on Raw.
Looking like a
Yeah,
cross between an indie backyard wrestler and the demon from WCW.
Bray's going to come back and do the same Bray moveset, and I'm going to be tired of it.
Pretty much.
But Liv got TV time. I'm happy with that. Made SmackDown a great show. Just that 10 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, and look, like I said, people, she is a little star. She has charisma. You can't take your eyes off her. And it's more than just the fact that she's a pretty 25-year-old girl. She has something. And I
Yeah.
wish the company would use it.
Well, now we know why he's leaving in 5 minutes.
Sir. The other thing I want to touch on from SmackDown was that Bayley booked herself her opponent for SummerSlam.
Why?
And she picked Ember Moon.
Oh.
Sure. Sure. Why not?
Going back to what you were saying with Raw, I forget if it was you or Matt about maybe things can change between here and SummerSlam. I hope this is one of the things that changes between here and SummerSlam.
Oh, it'll change because Charlotte will be thrown into it.
Yeah, I said that.
Right or not, but
Charlotte's gonna interject herself somehow.
And
I mean, I'm fine with the match as it is, but I would hope that Ember Moon gets a heel turn out of this angle.
they need to do something.
I don't even see how Ember works as a heel. Um, um, and hot take. She's so bland. Yeah, like, oh, I wear cat contacts and I do a stunner off the top rope that's gonna like shorten her career.
Yeah, her hip would be messed up by the time.
I don't mind the contact lenses.
And I don't either. But that's just the point of that's her character.
Yeah. I will point out that SmackDown did something very different from Raw when it comes to the women. Every woman on SmackDown was on screen. Every one. They all had a little part to play on the show. Granted,
Indeed, they
wasn't
did.
a lot.
And the Iconics once again showed why they are the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. Because, Adam, let me tell you something. It's not just athleticism that gets you ahead in WWE. It's all about smarts.
This is where I point out that the Kabuki Warriors technically won the match.
Doesn't
But they
matter. You
Iconics
have to
retained. I
do
knew that was
whatever
coming.
it takes to win. You have to do whatever it takes to keep those titles around those waists.
Like
And
Titus
that's
Machiavelli
exactly what they
says,
did.
whatever it takes.
Now, this
By any means
is
necessary.
Two
Mm.
I
questions.
mean, they are the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. They
We heard.
ended undefeated streaks. I mean, is there
Oh
anything
God,
they've eaten
damn it!
Cheetos chicken sandwiches? They are the first ever ride along scavenger hunt champions. Is there anything that they can't do?
Put on an entertaining match.
Dance. At least Billy Kay can't fucking dance to save her life.
I'll disagree on those two counts.
Um,
Peyton has some rhythm. Billy has no rhythm. With that,
Oh
I know
no,
Rice needs.
they have a lot of rhythm.
oh, sir, that did not, sir. Uh, two questions. Two questions here. Are the Kabuki Warriors going to get another chance at SummerSlam?
Yes, that's where this is headed.
Probably.
Okay. And I was going to say, if not them, who's it going to be?
I actually see a triple threat.
I think the Icon's going to hold those titles for another 100 days because
God,
there's
I
just
hope not.
no tag team that stands a chance against them.
No, sir, you were right before you said that. There's no tag team. There's no tag. So I think you're right, Mox. I think we're going to get a triple threat between the iconic the Kabuki Warriors and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Um,
Either Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are in this match, or they get inserted somehow into the Bailey Ember Moon.
yeah, I could see that too.
Or they face each
Um,
other.
that's also the other option. SmackDown, the stuff with the town hall stuff with Shane, I could take or leave, even though it set up the Liv Morgan Charlotte match. Um, did y'all notice Otis in the background?
Yep.
That man is on coke or something.
I,
It's a
I just,
Rocky Mountain High.
Yes, it
that John Denver's a lying piece of shit.
is. um,
You got to live into Rocky Mountains to understand the Rocky Mountain High.
Well, I
And
mean,
you
he
miss
is a guy that just
you miss
randomly
my
talks to George Burns back in the 70s. So,
Dumb and Dumber reference.
did we also just have a George Burns reference? What year is this?
I'll tell you what.
Um,
Any closing thoughts on the week in WWE? I guess to paraphrase Tony Schiavone, Matt, when it comes to MLW, we're out of time, but the cameras are rolling.
oh
yeah,
God, something really bad happened on MLW this past week.
briefly describe it, then we'll go home.
Okay.
Well, the main event was a ladder match for the MLW Tag Team titles with the Dynasty versus the Hart Foundation. It was a pretty good match, but the Dynasty ended up winning the tag titles.
Why?
Which two members of the dynasty?
Um, MJF and Richard Holiday.
Fuck MJF.
Okay. Interesting that they're putting the belt on a belt on MJF at this point in time, but I could only assume it's going to be they're going to hold it for a little while and they're going to
Probably.
drop it. They're going to drop
Yeah.
it to the Von Erich.
I could see that happening.
I could see it happening on their first live pay per view.
I think
Yeah.
if I had to guess, it's going to happen in Dallas.
Well, yeah.
Dallas.
Because I
Sir.
don't think their first pay per view isn't the Dallas show, right?
No. Two
No.
different shows. Two different shows.
I don't know
Okay,
when they
so
go back to Dallas.
September
Yeah, that might be it
20.
because they're doing that War Chamber
Yeah.
show.
right,
September
yeah,
23rd or something.
that MLW Dallas show is in September. AEW goes live in October, so it'll be at the
Yeah, but
Dallas show.
who cares about
Um, I don't
They
really have
sell
any other
they
comments
sell a lot
on
of
it.
T-shirts.
them?
Oh, by the way, They're giving Sean Spears a manager.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know why they're giving him a manager, but he doesn't need one. But
And with uh, and this show I can pay off on the tease there. Um, Sean Spears' manager will be an original member of the Four Horsemen, Kelly Blanchard.
woo! Did
I
I hear that punk right there say anything about the four horsemen?
settle down, Rick.
See, this is my fear with Tessa. You guys already know, like, I'm not the biggest Tessa fan. But Tully, back in the industry, he never really left, but being a figure again. Um, uh,
Well, don't worry, Mox. I think he's gonna toe the line.
oh, good grief.
Finish your thought there, Mox, and we'll get out of here.
Would you,
If you have,
what's your final thoughts on MLW's past show?
yeah, what do you think of the recent show, Matt?
I thought the last show was pretty good. Like I said, the ladder match was pretty good, except for the finish. So it was a pretty good show. They advanced the Selena Renta storyline with
Yes.
Mance Warner and Loki did another squash match and all of that stuff. So they're advancing their storylines a bit.
Every time you say it, AA in the background, yes. Say it one more time just to make her happier.
Selena de la Renta.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, we forgot to mention about SmackDown, and I swear this will be it. We keep saying this will be it. After Extreme Rules, Daniel Bryan cut a promo saying he was going to go to a place he's never gone before. And they said he would reveal it on SmackDown. SmackDown came and went, no Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that was shady. And our friend Man in Black, I'm affectionately called Dell, um, wants him because we're all like, okay, he's gonna completely flip and start eating meat and stuff. And Dell brought up he wants him to Daniel Bryan to join Heavy Machinery. I said they can be called steaks, weights, and shakes.
I let me. I'm interested to see what the plan is for Daniel Bryan, um, but I don't like that they kind of bait and switch the crowd, bait and switch
Yeah,
the audience.
that was messed up because they announced it.
Yes,
And the fact that there was no Daniel Bryan whatsoever, much less whatever this new Daniel Bryan's supposed to be. Like, I can't stand when they do that. I get when this is going to piss some people off, but a few months ago when there was supposed to be the Fatal 4-Way women's match and they got cut, like, okay, some things happen. But and I'm not trying to put Daniel Bryan over any of the women because I'm not a misogynist or a sexist or. But when Daniel Bryan says I'm going to reveal my new Daniel Bryan character, I've got something important to say SmackDown, and it doesn't happen. That that's a problem.
yeah,
Just as much as the Fatal 4-Way that didn't happen was a problem. That this was also because people. No offense to the ladies that were supposed to be in that Fatal 4-Way, but when Daniel Bryan says I'm going to reintroduce myself and have a new character, people ears perk up and tune in and want to know, and we didn't get that, and that's, in my opinion, just shady.
But it
Well,
didn't
if
stop.
it was about Fatal 4-Way, something else would never mind.
Stop it.
Shades.
But it didn't stop SmackDown from having the best ratings since April. So, I mean, whether you can say that some of that was for people wanting to tune in to see it or not, we'll never know. But that's just the true fact that SmackDown did the best rating in a while. But with all that said, we've actually gone a little bit longer than we wanted. My fault. I apologize. Um, you guys, let's just hurry up and sign out.
Where can they find you, Mr. Rice?
You can find me at PWFan01 on Twitter and at Keith at Cheats, SB Nation's professional wrestling blog in the daily and in the nightly on some occasions.
Aren't you supposed to be going to the Browns practice game next week?
Not the practice scrimmage in a couple weeks. I'm going to a training camp practice.
Ah, but
Yes.
it's next week.
It's not till August 9th.
Okay, my days all run. You guys all know my life's been hectic. Yeah, so a few weeks, but you got tickets to go see somebody. Browns facing the Browns. The Browns got to win somehow.
Yeah, it's always nice to start off with a win. So where can they find you, Metal Matt?
Well, I was just going to say real quick that night 1 of the G1 was much better than night 2. Tai Chi and Moxley had a pretty good match. Ishii and Cobb was pretty
What the?
good.
How the hell? Just
We are
last night,
trying
were you?
to sign out, and you're
Are you
doing
serious?
G1.
Just last night, you said you weren't done with night 1, and now you're done with night 1 and night 2.
Yes.
You need to relay this information to us.
We will do a G1 omnibus next week, next Tuesday. We will lead off with the G1. And
now I'm just going to go in and do it tonight. Night 2, it was a bit weaker, I thought, but
no, stop it. Stop it. Now. I will murder you.
We've been waiting for you to catch up at least on night 1.
And I caught up tonight.
Okay. Well,
right.
By the way, tonight's night 5. By the way, so you still have some catching up to do before next Tuesday.
Well, Access TV is skipping all the way to night 9 or something like that. So
you have my password to watch it,
sir. That is actually not information we should be disclosing.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have an account.
Matt, please just tell the people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at MLW and Helen Cast. I see anything on the daily and the nightly, and hopefully sometime soon that we'll be able to do Virtual Question Era podcast with Angel on September Tuesday 2004 and SmackDown vs. Raw. It is pretty good. Now I am watching South Park, the Walmart episode, which is pretty funny. So there.
And about to get your ass whooped in Morris by Morris and some.
Yep.
We'll see.
Mox, where can the people find you?
Twitter at Fireman6809, on Twitch, Mox_VWP. That's about it.
Allie, can you tell the people where they can find you and then take us out?
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Lady Rashana, or you can find me on Twitch at Violent Wrestling Podcast. No G.
That's also our Twitter handle of Violent Wrestling No G.
Yeah.
And we informed you guys last week we're going to have to thank you, Google, YouTube. We're going to have to make that switch soon. Hopefully we get all the kinks worked out.
Don't you have a Switch already, Mox?
Sir.
We're going to do Twitch. Twitch. You know, you twitch this way, and then you twitch that way. Twitch.
How much have you had to drink that you're twitching so much?
I just had one.
That's concerning.
It depends on what it was.
That was a lot of tequila.
And as we sign out, I do want to send our best thoughts and wishes out to the living legend, King Hurley Race. He has currently been in the hospital with medical complications that have caused him to cancel some dates on some appearances he was going to make. As many of you know, Hurley has had a rough last couple of years on the medical front. So we just want to send our thoughts out to the 8-time world champ. And hopefully he can come through this like he's come through so many times before.
Yes, and for some of the younger friends of ours, listeners, viewers, um, King Harley Race is one of the goats. He, um, depending on the day, gets included on my Mount Rushmore. He best wishes, best thought.
Yeah,
If we were doing a CMLL Mount Rushmore, would it be called Mount Rushmore?
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah. On that note, the migraine he just gave me. But I guess we'll see you guys. Same bat time, same bat channel next Tuesday.
There's another cease and desist. God damn it.
Hey, that's not trademarked.
Do you want to bet? Allie,
Quick question. Quick question. Because it comes on every morning 5 to 7, and I watch it. Why is a Lone Ranger called a Lone Ranger when he has a partner in Tonto?
Because he's just the one ranger.
He's got a friend. He's not alone.
That makes as much sense as why do hot dogs come in packages of 8 and buns come in packages of 10?
Because the other 2 dogs are going somewhere
else. I love you guys so much. Thank you for those that listen. Thank you for listening. For you three, thank you for bringing smiles to my face and loving me, and I love you as well. So, on that note, screw you all. I'll talk to you soon.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, nurses.